Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's video, which I'm going to present it as one of the most important conversations that any of us could ever have. Maybe it's because it's my favorite topic. But another reason is because I think this is the thing that unites us more so than anything else. So today's conversation is about understanding the mechanics of the mind. And I'm of the belief that if you asked everyone walking the planet today the question, do you want to suffer? Fast boost, by the way. More on this to come. But if you asked everyone walking the planet today, do you want to suffer? Unanimously, everyone would say no. So why is that so profound? Because we can't agree on anything as human beings. Everyone has their own opinions and ideas about what is right, what is pure, what is good, how we should be living, and we can't agree upon it. And yet, we can agree upon the simple fact that we don't want to suffer. So wouldn't it be wise to understand what leads to suffering? And wouldn't it be wise to at least attempt, to try to relieve ourselves of suffering? So this is a vast conversation, obviously, and can go in so many different directions and angles. But I want to bring a little bit of practicality to this, in beginning just to start to understand even what is the mind. So if we look, we see that the mind carries thoughts. So electromagnetic impulses that just seem to pop up out of nowhere. And in the thoughts, sometimes there's images. So we could say thoughts in the mind, in between our ears, and then feelings in the body, sensations. So we could call that the mind. There's a perception of thoughts and there's a perception of sensations. And in any particular moment, we find ourselves having a certain combination of thoughts and sensations that lead to our experience. Sometimes those thoughts and sensations feel good. Other times we want to run as far as we can from what we're experiencing. So the mind lives in the land of time. Past, present, future. There's a construct called time. And if we look at time, we can look at our past. We can bring our attention in this moment and start ruminating and thinking about the past. Ooh, you remember that time when I was at the 6th grade dance and I wanted to dance with that girl, but I was too afraid to speak to her. I could go back and start to think about that. What happened? Why was I so afraid? What was going on? We call that therapy. Because likely that created a trauma, a fragmentation of our identity, which also lives in the mind. So the identity is a localized perspective point in space and time that we relate to life from. So man, I just wanted to go ask her to dance, but I didn't have it within me. I didn't have the confidence, right? So I now start identifying myself with someone that's fearful, perhaps inadequate or insecure. The common one for us men, not enough. Man, I'm not enough. So I got to go do something to become enough. Can you hear it? That's the mind. So the mind, I'm not enough, paints that onto the present moment. I have to go do something to become enough. That's the future. That's in essence the mechanics of how the mind plays itself out. We could go the self-development route, or we could go we could compensate in the other direction. Netflix and chill, pornography, whatever numbs having to feel what it feels like to have the combination of thoughts and sensations in insecurity. So to the degree that we don't want to experience whatever it is we're experiencing is the degree that we'll suffer. So the two big constructs in the mind are time, identity. So we all have a self-image that is subconsciously created from past experiences. It's not ultimately real, but it definitely has an impact on how we're relating to life and the results that we're achieving in our life. So, identity, self-image, is like this invisible force that no matter where we go, whatever environment we're in, we'll start feeling things. We'll start thinking things, which absolutely has to, it's related to what other people are thinking and feeling. That's why sometimes we're connected with someone and we can finish their sentence because there's a resonance. There's a mirror neuron, right? We have mirror neurons with humans because we're not so different after all. There's a uniqueness to all of us, and that uniqueness is absolutely essential to feeling aliveness, to feeling freedom, to feeling love, connected, to feeling healthy, vibrant. All the things that connects us humans with what we desire. Now, we all have different things we desire to some degree, and a lot of desires are simply attachments that keep us stuck into a familiar past, because our past is our greatest addiction. So if we're experiencing something unknown, it could be like exciting, it could be feeling freeing, we could be feeling our heart in one moment, and then the next moment the mind's freaking out, is like it goes back to the suffering, it goes back to the anxiety, to the worry, to the fear, because that's familiar. And that's the conversation that is perpetually playing itself out. That if we're not aware of, we'll just go with the thought stream of our habitual familiar past. And when we start becoming more conscious, we start realizing, oh, that is what's creating suffering. That's leading to my suffering. The thinking, the overthinking, it just continually runs. Well, why is it continually running? These are the questions that start to allow you to see the patterns, to have awareness of the mind, to pull the identity of who you think you are out of the mind. The mind comes and it goes. Just like the wind, it comes and it goes. But you are there to watch it, to be aware of the comings and the goings. It's like one moment, you're sitting there and you're daydreaming. You're daydreaming about that beautiful woman that you saw in the coffee shop. And you just go with it. And all of a sudden you become aroused. If only you knew what happens in the mind of men. We find an outlet in fantasy, and there's nothing wrong with fantasy. Although when we over fantasize, we can find a suffering in that, right? So why am I speaking to this? Because our thoughts have a way of seducing us. And if we recognize that we do find a level of joy, a level of peace, a level of presence in presence itself, when the mind is able to settle, it's like when the pond is able to settle, we can see with crystal clarity. And whether I'm a high-performing CEO that needs to make a direct decision, or I'm just like a hippie wanting to experience more peace, more liberation, more openness, we're all seeking the same thing. We all want to feel our power. We all want to feel our potential beyond the construct of the individual that this society has labeled, has painted as us. And the more we're able to lean into the discomfort of our feelings, regulating our breath, our nervous system, those habitual thought patterns, they start to lose their grip. And we can start to see how choosing the action that we're afraid of actually leads to more liberation. And it relaxes our mind into presence. Presence is where the construct of time and the construct of our identity is happening simultaneously right now. So when we're operating from our identity of the past, we're chasing pleasure and we're attempting to avoid pain. But it is the very thing that we resist that continually perpetuates itself in our experience. So we have an experience. Perhaps we're arguing with a coworker. She's like, oh, why do they believe that? They shouldn't be believing that. And we judge them. And we're angry. Maybe we have a right to be angry. But who cares? Anytime we're judging, we're trying to control someone else. We're not allowing them to show up a certain way. We're resisting them from having their own human experience, from having their own opinions and judgments. Now, perhaps we can see how that is impacting the people in their life. And that is where a lot of compassion comes into this process. But for the sake of our own happiness, if we're letting the weather of someone else's emotional forecast impact us, that's going to lead to more suffering. So the more we're able to bring the mind back into a space of crystal clarity, which is its nature, So the awareness that is aware of the thoughts and images and the sensations, the awareness is the constant. And it's not constant as in it has a form, it has a shape like this book or this water canister. Awareness is shapeless. Just like space is shapeless. And yet the space in this room is the space in your room. So space connects us too. So all of this that I'm sharing right now, just notice. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what's happening inside of you. If you have any questions, if you want to start a discussion, you can leave a comment below. And perhaps I will create Understanding the Mind Mechanics number 2, based off those questions. So, looks like my red light just turned off. So that might be a good place to end this video, this conversation. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you soon.